Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This is a program that Congress put in place to allow public workers like teachers, firefighters, and military service members to have their student loans forgiven if they make payments for 10 years. But 99 out of every 100 public servants who apply for debt forgiveness are rejected. According to a recent NPR report in 2018, the CFPB launched an effort to find out why the program is failing our public servants. But Secretary DeVos's Department of Education seems to have successfully stonewalled those efforts. Is it true that in response to a letter from Senator Warren and myself, you confess that, quote, since December 2017, student loan servicers have declined to produce information requested by the Bureau for Supervisory Examinations related to loans held by the department based on the department's guidance?
Yes, Senator, that was in the letter.
Is it also true that the Bureau submitted a supervisory examination request to the Department of Education in January of 2019 of this year? And since then, the Department of Education failed to respond to the CFPB's request as disclosed by the department in a June letter to Senator Murray and Congresswoman DeLauro?
Senator, yes, if I could give a little additional context.
We'll get to additional context in a moment.
Thank you,
That's a true statement, correct?
Yes, Senator.
Now, Secretary DeVos, the Secretary of Education, has made it abundantly clear that she prioritizes loan servicers over teachers and public workers. But you don't have to follow her lead. In fact, your predecessor, Mick Mulvaney, was still able to examine federal student loan servicers despite DeVos's opposition. When he faced similar obstruction by the department, he followed the recommendation of career enforcement attorneys and sought a court order to compel some of the largest student loan servicers to turn over documents to the Bureau. These actions prove that the CFPB can still work to protect federal student borrowers despite the irresponsible actions of Secretary DeVos. Why has the Bureau, under your leadership thus far, failed to use all the tools at its disposal, including seeking court orders to conduct proper oversight?
Senator, I believe that it behooves the federal government to actually act in a more united manner that's going to be better for consumers. It's certainly going to be more consistent. I have met with Secretary DeVos. I hired the private education loan ombudsman. We're moving forward with the MOU that is statutorily required to share complaint information. And we are already discussing how to move forward in an effective way to make sure that we're overseeing.
I agree that if we can work in
servicers.
cooperation, that's great. But let me just read to you what the Department of Education said 48 hours ago. And I quote, "The Department of Education is charged with overseeing the federal student aid portfolio. The CFPB is charged with oversight of the private student loan industry. So if you're waiting for the Department of Education to give you permission to oversee the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, you're going to be disappointed, and our public servants are going to pay a price. Why don't you do what your predecessor did? Why won't you commit to reinstating the oversight and enforcement of these loans?"
Senator, we are absolutely doing exams of private education loans, and we are working with the Department of Education on the federal student loan portfolio to make sure that federal consumer protection laws, which are the purview of this agency, are followed. And that's something that we're going to continue to work through.
Well, it hasn't worked so far. They haven't cooperated with you at all. They've stonewalled you every step of the way, and they've made it very clear in the statement 48 hours ago that they only believe that you have jurisdiction over private student loan industry and not theirs. So who's going to get hurt here are public servants who deserve to have the opportunity to have loan forgiveness as part of their service. And I really urge you to do what your predecessor did and use the enforcement capabilities that you have. Let me quickly ask you on the QM patch, which has provided over roughly 6 million residential mortgage loans originated in 2018. The Bureau estimates that roughly 1/6 or nearly 1 million loans benefited from the QM patch. I understand that you are all going to allow it to just lapse. How is it that you're going to ensure that if you don't take steps to offer the type of financing that is currently available, how can you describe the steps that the Bureau is going to take to prevent the patch's expiration without causing a major disruption to the housing market in our overall economy.
Senator, a smooth transition is what I'm committed to. I put that in the advance notice of proposed rulemaking, and recognizing that the patch was set to expire and is set to expire in January 2021, that we are starting this process very early. And we sought comment on how long of an extension would be necessary to support a transition. And we're looking at the comments back on that now, and I'll be making a decision in terms of a next step in a proposed rulemaking process to make that as smooth as
I
possible.
hope you can commit that your final rule will provide the same opportunity for folks to get into a home as currently available. Particularly people of color have experienced the benefit on the patch and have shown that they are credit-worthy borrowers. They should not be denied simply because we want to end the patch without the ability to keep that opportunity available. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.